So lately we've been hearing a lot about CPI data, inflation, and all that other kind of stuff. Well, what is it all? What can you do with the data? What does it mean? Well, I've got the video for you. Yep, a tutorial on how to use CPI data, where to find it. Oh, and what am I listening to? Hold on. Keep me coming and you don't stop.
Sparking up an L might kill the brain cell, but I might as well, I'm on the highway to hell.
All right, enough of that. Let's get into CPI data. What does it all mean? Let's take the cans off because I don't have tunes anymore because I can't pay attention with tunes. All right, so here's the deal. So when we talk about CPI data, inflation rate, we are looking at this, right? These blue bars that you always see me use. Now, you see this number right here, 7.7. That's just like a big like group average number that we've been using, okay? That's kind of been just like the raw number that's thrown out there. Now, within that raw number, though, you can divide even further and see what the data actually means. Because some of you out there are like, well, Klaus, inflation's not 7%. I'm paying like 20, 30% more for food, for fuel, for housing and all that. And you're exactly right, okay? Let's get into it. CPI home. So for instance, if we look at that 7.7, that 7.7 now translates into these brackets. It translates into even more, and don't worry, we're gonna go into that. Tutorial video from me to you. All right, so you can click on energy. So right now you can see energy as an average is 17.6. If you click on it, you can now see it broken down into two categories, energy commodities and energy services. All right, so let's go to the commodities part of it. Fuel oil, obviously, right? We've been paying more at the pump. Gasoline, all types, yeah, paying more at the pump. Why? Because fuel oil is so much more. Fuel oil, as you can see, is 68.5% higher year over year. This is based on a 12-month percentage change chart. Gasoline is at 17.5%. So when we get to that beginning screen and we start talking about 7.7 and the Fed wanting to get things back down to 2.0, that's why he's going to keep raising rates, ladies and gents. We can now see that within this, though, what affecting this consumer is actually way, way higher. Now, if you click back on this, you will see it'll go back to the original screen. Now, one of the things with energy that is going to be affecting about half of my viewers is going to be natural gas prices. Oh yes, go on energy services. Electricity up 14%, natural gas 20%. So it's not just my fans across the pond that are suffering high natural gas prices, although theirs are freakishly through the roof. We are also suffering well in the United States with a raise of 20% year over year. Now, what about the families out there? How about you guys that do the food shopping? Let's drill into the food bar. So you click on food. Now, food is at 10.9, a lot higher than 7.7, isn't it? All right. We've got two categories, food at home and food away. Let's talk about food at home. Why? Because I'm at home and eat. Oh, kids, you know, like my son who eats like how many boxes of cereal a week? Cereal is up 15.9% year over year. What about dairy, milk, eggs, and so forth? You know those like 6 dozen carton of eggs from Walmart? You used to be able to get those big like cartons. You used to get them for all like $5, $6. They're like $15, $16, $18 by me. Comment below what price is totally freaking you out now, which you were like, oh, I wasn't paying this just not too long ago. But look at that, dairy and related products up 15.5%. So again, we can always go back to the whole idea of, yes, 7.7. But within that 7.7, there's more numbers. Now you can drill the data down even further. What's juicy about that, and don't worry because as always, any article you see in this video will be linked in the description below. But what you could do is you could go even further. CPI housing utilities, food inflation. Oh, isn't that what we were just talking about, everyone? Yeah, so you could drill down even specifics for food inflation. So yes, maybe the overall number is a 7.7, and that's what Jerome Powell, the Fed, that's what a lot of economic indicators, a lot of people out there use as the economic indicator. But food you can see is much higher. Look, food 11.4, 10.9, 11.2. Now here, let's put that in perspective. In order to use this data correctly, not only do we have to be able to drill down to the subcategories, but we also have to look at it now through a timeline factor. Because when you look at this, you're like, yo, this is bad. We were in the low 6s, and then stuff just started cranking up at around January. Okay, cool. Let's put it to the 5-year. Whoa, now you see what the fear is how fast food prices have gone up. They better come right back down. So you can use this data for almost anything out there. Transportation related. Same thing. You could look at even within the transportation. Look, transportation just went on up. That's going to be a scary factor if you're in the transportation related industry. import prices. You could pick any metric you want. So yes, I understand that we are seeing a decline here, but just like I showed you in the transportation just had a blip on up. Interesting. Yes. So CPI data is a lot more than what is just out there in the big broad number. What about rent inflation? Oh crap. See? What the government hides from you, and that's what's really kind of crappy about this data, and that's why I'm exposing to you. What the government hides from you is, yes, 7.7. Doesn't this chart look nice how it's going on down? Well, the chart looks like a big piece of poop when you see how fast it went up for how long. It was just bad. But now let's take that back. Let's tie that into rent, because rent affects a lot of people. A lot of people. Do you see rent slowing down? So for all my fudsters out there that tell me that housing prices are going to crash, poo-poo. You're thinking of emotions, not using data. The data is telling us right here, guess what? Rent is going up. Why is rent going up? Because private equity groups out there that have cash, that don't have to worry about paying Jerome Powell 7+%. Yeah, they have cash, so they can buy homes cheap. So then what they do is they buy all the homes in the neighborhood cheap, and then they all raise the rental rates. Then what happens is, because rent rates are high, home prices in that area stay high too. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. So as you can see, rent has gone through the roof. Now let's blow rent up in a 5-year. Oh, crap. Yeah. Take a look. Rent has no signs of slowing down. So yes, are we seeing some relief with the 7.7? Yes, did the markets flash green today? But the big story out there is the data within it. Not the 7.7 that you see on the screen, but the rent number that you see right here going up. Food prices, right everyone? Food's now not just going up, it's leveling off and staying high. That's a big problem. You don't see food peeling back that much, do you? And we know food's going to go up more because there's some grain-related and fertilizer-related issues that are in the supply chain pipeline right now that we're going to have problems with here this next season. This next planting season for farmers is going to be freakishly high. Any applications done of ammonia and all the other fertilizer fun stuff that farmers are doing right now, you power farmers out there know what I'm talking about. I used to live in the upper Midwest. I know what's up. That is going to be higher cost this year for food, which means the next year when food goes on the shelves, right? We're not that far from next growing season, are we? But the next year when that food hits the shelf, it's going to be even more expensive. So use this data however you would like. But I thought it'd be a good video to show you, what does this data mean? What do you actually do with it? And where do you find it? Now, the next time you're going to see this data release is going to be on December 13th. And remember, this data that you're seeing here is the same big data that Jerome Powell and the Fed are using when it comes to their rate hikes. And these rate hikes that they've been dropping on the market, remember, they're going to continue dropping rate hikes on the market till this big broad number right here, which is sitting at 7.7, drops back down to 2.0. That is when Jerome Powell and the Fed will really, really start being happy where things are, and then we won't have to start thinking about the rate hikes, will we? So that's the gift from me to you, how to use that CPI inflation data. And, well, guess what, everyone? It changes all the time, because remember, 2 years ago, we weren't using data like this to talk about macro events. It wasn't important then. Macro events at that time were more Rona related, weren't they? So see, the news and the information pivots. So make sure you are kept up to speed with what news and information the market is using for price action. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. See you guys all later, and check out this video here if you want to learn even more. Tunes, everyone. Let's get back to it.
Sparking up an L might kill the brain cell, but I might as well, I'm on the high.